How's it going, everybody? So, tonight, I know that we got this labeled as a podcast, people, but colloquially, 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 we just don't know what to call it. But we're going to be taking calls here. Every once in a while, we might throw our own thoughts into it, but we're going to be taking a call from our callers from Queens, New York tonight. I had a lot of experiences in my life that they all came together in like it was like predestined because I was always on a very difficult path with employment, kind of trying to figure out not even employment. Everybody's got a stage of self discovery, but yeah, exactly. Most people, it's in their 20s. It better be in your fucking 20s because if it's not, it's gonna have to happen later on, and that's not good. So anyway, I mean, I see.
Yeah, keep going.
I'm just, baby, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And like, I'm a very conscious person that I've always been quiet. I've always, like Jackson, I have been the one that's in the back, not saying a word, watching every fucking thing that's going on. And not only am I watching it, but I'm interpreting it to the best of my ability. And I've seen a lot of shit in my life growing up as a child and as a teenager. And a lot of those things that I paid attention to was family, work ethic, and family. And two things that were super important to me were my destiny as far in terms of, this modern world we live in. You gotta be a cog in the machine. Do you want to be just any old cog? No. You want to try and be that special cog that serves a special function. That's the ideal of almost anybody growing up in the Western world. Not only to find your place, but to find the right place. And make your place and have it be nice and not have to worry and this and that. So that was always a giant concern of mine, of course, but also family, where more than work, because that I had to learn about, but family being first in my eyes was always more important to me. My parents sacrificed a lot, as do almost all parents that are worth mentioning. And it's just, I started to realize that there was a choice that I had to make. And this is where the idea, I lose it. It's not as clear and concise as I had it the other day. But basically, there was a choice I had to make because I didn't make the right financial decisions early in my life. Unfortunate for me, I had a very good safety net that I never really had to worry in that sense. That no matter what, I would always have a place to sleep. So anyway, it really started to change my priority. And that's why like 25, 26 was a place in my life that if I did not make the change that I did, I would not have met you. And I might have met you, but I would have never seen that opportunity. I would have never committed to it. I would have never been the man capable of committing to it. Because at some point in my work life, just in life in general, I decided that regardless, the next step in my life had to be finding somebody And now, I wasn't desperate in that sense. I had been without somebody for basically 25 fucking years. So I had gotten very good at being alone with myself, and being alone, but not lonely. And there's a big difference. Now, obviously, you're still alone, so you do, have a sense of loneliness, but that was not my problem. I was happier being alone than I would have been being lonely. So, anyway, that just made me realize that I could have everything. And this is what I seen growing up. This is why I made the choice I did. Because you can pick up the pieces financially, and you can be lacking financially. But when you don't have your life in order, in most other respects, you're doomed. You are doomed. There were so many fucking friends that I had that they were rich. You went to their house, they might not have been millionaires, but they had everything. But guess what you never seen? You never seen their mom and dad together in the same place. Most of the time, you never even seen either parent's home, ever. The house was beautiful, but it was dark and empty. And the kid was reckless, misguided. Sure, he was a cool kid, but that's why he was a cool kid. Because he did not have any control. Nobody was controlling him. He had no discipline. So, all of these things I understood very early in life. And it's just something I did not want to repeat. I did not want to see that. I did not want to be the man who's 40, 50 years old and thought he had everything, but actually has nothing. And at some point that reality might come to be true, where his wife leaves him and likely will, or if she doesn't leave him, she's cheating on him and doesn't love him. So I just prioritized more meaningful shit in my life, because I very likely would have been, if I just did not let in any other shit and I stayed focused on my goals like both my brothers did. At least that is how I am. I'm on or off. So I'm either committed to something or I'm not. So the fact that I was committed to work and finding my career meant that I knew it. I was blinded to it. To relationships, to emotion. I did not have a fucking girlfriend for 25 years. And I was totally okay with that. That's not right in that sense. I was happy. I learned a lot from it, being kind of turned off to that and just looking at it and living life vicariously. And, I tried to dabble, but I was myself. I never caved. I just rode through. And I think that there's a lot of people who, they remain true to themselves. And they have a lot of difficulty in life. We're all very different. And I just think, there are some people that if you're going to be true to yourself, you're going to have a lot of obstacles in life. Because, the way that society is made, it's cut out for one shape. You gotta be a fucking square to fit the square hole. If you're a circle or a fucking triangle, you're gonna have to shave off a few of those edges to squeeze your way through. So It's just like, it's a normal fucking thing that I'm not gonna let anybody make me feel like I'm misprioritized in what I should value in my life.
Okay. Who said anything to you that make you feel
Well, the fact that, you know, if you're living in a society like this, obviously you are immediately told by the natural world that you are not doing enough. You will obviously not be able to pay your bills. You cannot do a lot of things. You will not have upward mobility. So anyway, my point is though is that I've always had a stable foundation to be able to work off of. And now whether that was because psychologically I grew up with this and I knew that the lowest I could fall was to the top of a tree, I never worried in that sense, where I applied myself to my utmost best I could, up until the point that I realized I'm getting too old and I've missed out on too much in my life and the priorities have to shift. So you know, I don't know, that's all. And that's why I think sometimes you have to be committed to an idea that, I mean, you have to make sure it's sound. And, you know, I have the evidence to prove that these decisions were absolutely the most fruitful thing in my life up until this point. The best decision I ever made. But yeah, there are things that you will seriously have to consider and will feel wrong. They will feel wrong and you might suffer. But that suffering is not for nothing. And it might just be exactly what's telling you you're doing the right thing. Because there is pointless suffering, but there's also calculated risk, which any man should be willing to make. But I have to say that, you know, that's why it's another conflicting thing in my own head, because fuck me, you know, how wrong is it in a tangible sense? Yeah, I mean, like I said today, you're struggling, you know, a lot of the stress that I am experiencing, it's not only me that has to experience it, it's put onto you in at least some form, because you have to provide for both of us. So I understand that, you know. And that's what I was telling you before. It's just a lot, and I get that.
Hey, I get it. I get it. Well, thanks for your call. You know, at the end of the day, we are all suffering. Suffering, have to get through that. I appreciate all the listeners here today. I'd like to apologize that we have to end this short. We'll take more calls and have further discussions in the future. But for now, that will be all.